The sound of tearing fabric and muffled laughter echoed behind the gas station, breaking the stillness of the afternoon. The sun hung harsh and unblinking, spilling light over a scene no one should ever have to witness. Officer Mara Collins stood, with her back to the wall, heart hammering against her ribs, uniform torn, pride unraveling thread by thread. Two men towered over her, cruel smiles, cheap bravado, the kind of men who believed no one could stop them because no one ever had. Her breath came in short, ragged bursts. She had faced danger before, armed suspects, dark alleys, standoffs. But never this, never so powerless. Every instinct screamed to fight, yet fear pressed down harder than any hand could. Her father's words whispered through her memory. Never let them see fear, Mara. Fear gives power. But fear had already taken hold. From the street, the sound of engines hummed faintly, cars passing, life continuing, mocking her silent plea for help. If you're watching this on Kindness Corner, and you believe compassion and courage still matter, please like, comment, and share. Stories like this remind us that goodness often comes from the most unexpected places. That morning had been ordinary, a routine call about a suspicious vehicle parked by an old gas station at the edge of town, the kind of place where dust clung to everything and the vending machines hummed in the heat. She pulled in, scanned the area, checked her radio. Nothing seemed off until the trap was sprung. The vehicle wasn't abandoned. It was bait. 5 men waiting, watching her for weeks, revenge for an arrest she'd made months ago. The leader, Vince Harrow, stepped forward, eyes like broken glass, all bitterness and no soul. Once a mechanic, prison had turned him into something harder, meaner. "This uniform make you feel safe?" he sneered. They surrounded her behind the building, out of sight, out of reach. The smell of oil and concrete pressed into her lungs. The world shrank to heat, breath, and dread. One of them filmed, another laughed, and the others just watched. The world felt darker beneath the blazing sun. The silver badge on her chest caught the light, a small reminder of what she'd once believed in. And then, a sound. At first, just a low rumble in the distance, then another. Engines, heavy ones. The laughter died. 6 men appeared at the edge of the highway, walking in formation, boots hitting the ground with calm, deliberate rhythm. The Hell's Angels. They weren't riding. Their bikes stood behind them, chrome glinting in the light like steel sentinels. At the front was a man who looked carved from gravel and regret. Reed Calloway. Salt and pepper beard, cold blue eyes that had seen too much. Tattoos wound up his arms like stories too heavy to tell. "Hey," Vince called out, forcing a smirk that didn't reach his eyes. "You boys lost?" The Angels didn't answer. They didn't need to. They stopped 15 feet away. The air thickened. Even the sunlight seemed to hesitate. Reed's eyes moved. From Mara, trembling against the wall, to the men around her. His jaw clenched. He'd seen it all before. The helplessness, the cruelty. And somewhere inside him, it triggered an old wound. His daughter. The one he'd lost years ago because of choices like these. He hadn't been there when she needed him most. And now, he wasn't going to walk away from another man's daughter in need. Vince took a step back. "Let's go," he muttered to his crew. But the biggest angel, a mountain of a man with a beard down to his chest, stepped forward. His voice rolled like distant thunder. "She's not going anywhere with you." The air froze. Vince swung out, pride before sense. But Reed moved first. His tattooed hand shot forward, catching Vince's wrist in midair. No words, just strength. The kind that comes from knowing exactly what you'll never do again. A single shove sent Vince stumbling back. His phone hit the ground, recording the moment it all ended. The rest of his crew scattered, curses dissolving into the heat. Mara fell to her knees, shaking. The tension drained from her body like water after a storm. Reed crouched down beside her. "You're safe now," he said quietly. She looked up, tears cutting paths through the dust on her face. Why did you stop?" He gave a small, sad smile. "Because someone should have stopped for mine." Behind them, the angels stood like sentries, silent, watchful, unmoving. A wall of leather and loyalty. For the first time all day, the sound of engines felt like protection, not threat. Reed glanced at her badge, then nodded. He didn't wait for thanks. He didn't need it. Maybe this was his redemption, a small act to balance a lifetime of wrong roads. As the angels walked back toward their bikes, sunlight caught Mara's badge again. This time, it shone brighter. She stood tall, clutching what was left of her uniform, watching them ride off into the horizon, 6 silhouettes fading into the blaze of daylight. She didn't know their names. She didn't need to. All she knew was that the line between sinner and savior was thinner than she'd ever imagined. Sometimes the people you're told to fear are the ones who show up when no one else does. If this story touched your heart, share it. Because kindness doesn't always wear a uniform, and salvation doesn't always come with sirens. Sometimes, it roars in on 2 wheels, carrying the weight of past mistakes toward something better. And under that burning sun, for the first time in a long while, Officer Mara Collins finally felt safe.